Hey guys, how you going? Before I start today, I'd just like to apologise to Chris. I was very tired reading comments last night and I mistook Chris as a troll. I really apologise, Chris. I actually thought that you were saying that I was paid by the military industrial complex, or funded, sorry, when you were actually telling me the study was funded or it was being funded by the military industrial complex. So I just wanted to make a public apology because I was wrong, and I will admit when I was wrong. Sorry, guys. Someone's car alarm was going off there. Okay, so Chris, I really apologise, and I felt like that had to be said. Now, let's get on with it. I've got a few people to thank, but I will do that at the end. More on this GESARA. I have found a treasure trove of information, guys. This is Santa Surfing Beach Broadcast.com. She has her own YouTube channel. I'm going to dig into some of this a little bit further than she did on her last video, though. GESARA, it is global. Okay, the reason I'm reading this is because this is the global one. The emphasis of this article is focused on GESARA, which is the Global Economic and Security... Can't remember. Okay. It's escaped me right now, guys. I've got so much information in my head. My mind is being blown every day lately. There are several reasons why. It began with a tremendous proof of worldwide activities for respective governments from different countries to offer a stimulus during this COVID crisis. According to USTPO, coronavirus is a man-made virus created by the corrupt CDC during Bush Jr. years 2003. Albeit the coronavirus was a scare tactic to close down the economy, recommended by two doctors, not economists, this tactic has led to various discoveries of fraudulent reporting of the actual coronavirus cases. Hospitals are bribed to classify deaths as coronavirus related. There was a virus that a Harvard scientist brought to Wuhan. I think this was a virus that a Harvard scientist brought to Wuhan, China. Wuhan then allegedly released this virus to create a public global outcry. However, did China intentionally do this to classify their inhumane acts by starving and caging their own people to death? Hence, the virus will hopefully eliminate the narrative of their corruption of human abuse. Now, I've seen photos of these people caged, and that could be what they were doing in China at the beginning of all this, when you've seen people being dragged from the streets. Now, who signed an executive order on seizing assets of anyone with human abuses? President Trump. President Trump has signed many executive orders, however, and Anon uncovered many more orders that pertain to worldwide orders. Okay, now, the worldwide executive order is this. Executive order on blocking property of the government of Venezuela. Executive order on blocking property of certain persons contributing to the situation in Nicaragua. Executive order blocking property of additional persons contributing to the situation in Venezuela. Executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Executive order on blocking property and suspending entry of certain persons contributing to the situation in Syria. Executive order on blocking property and suspending entry of certain persons contributing to the situation in Mali. And I believe these are all trafficking. That's what it's aimed at, I think. Statement of the press secretary regarding an executive order blocking property of the government of Venezuela. Also what they're doing to their people, it could be. Executive order budgetary impact statements. Executive Order 13882 entitled Blocking Property and Suspending Entry into the US, I think that is. Executive Order on Imposing Sanctions with respect to Iran. Executive Order reimposing certain sanctions with respect to Iran. And it goes on and on. Now, this is from the whitehouse.gov, and I'll include all these links that I'm looking at right now down below. This is way more than I can dig into on my own, guys. It'll take me a while. I can dig into it, but it'll take me a while. So if anyone else wants to help and maybe read some of these links and then pass a summary, give me a summary or something to read, because as one person, this is wow. Now, blocking the property. Which one is it? This one. What's in Trump's executive order on the Defense Production Act? Is that what it was? Hang on. Human rights abuse. Yes, it is. Patrick McDonald is a student at Harvard Law School. That's the person who wrote the article. Okay. On March the 18th, President Trump issued an executive order invoking the Defense Production Act, DPA, to prioritise the production of much-needed medical equipment and supplies to combat the novel coronavirus. And the corona means crown. I was going to say clown. Well, they are clowns, but it does. Corona is crown. This follows a March 13 letter signed by 57 House Democrats requesting the president to invoke the 1950 Act to begin mass production of supplies needed to address the ongoing coronavirus disease, COVID pandemic. As the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, notes, with the decrease in exports from countries affected by the virus and an increase in demand from medical professionals, certain manufacturers of personal protective equipment, PPE, such as masks, eye protection and isolation gowns, have found satisfying the increased volume of orders challenging. In light of the public health challenges, the DPA has taken on a renewed significance. Recently, the Congressional Research Service published a report detailing policy considerations in employing the Act in the face of the current pandemic. However, the new executive order does not so much directly invoke the DPA as it creates the conditions under which the administration can later employ its authorities. Essentially, it classifies health and medical resources needed to respond to the spread of COVID-19 in a way that authorises the administration to later have private businesses prioritise government contracts over other contracts. The order also delegates broad authority to the Secretary of Health and Human Services, the HHS, to later employ certain powers of the DPA. Before diving into the particulars of the executive order, it's useful to review the DPA to provide some context for the authorities the administration is now choosing to exercise. Okay, and this is going to go on and on and on. The original, what is the Defense Production Act? Originally passed in 1950, the DPA was part of a response to the Truman administration's desire to have stronger executive authority in the burgeoning Cold War, as well as the hot conflict on the Korean Peninsula. Echoing powers from World War II that have since lapsed, the DPA gave the President broad authorities over national economic policy, including the ability to expand production capacity of certain materials and services, as well as to prioritise defence production. And then it goes on, you can read, only 3 titles survive from the initial act. Title 1, Priorities and Allocations. The President is authorised to require that performance under contracts or orders other than contracts of employment, which he deems necessary or appropriate to promote the national defence, shall take priority over performance under any other contract or order, and for the purpose of assuring such priority to require acceptance and performance of such contracts or orders in preference to other contracts or orders by any person he finds to be capable of their performance, and 2, to allocate materials, services and facilities in such manner, upon such conditions and to such extent that he shall deem necessary or appropriate to promote the national defence. Now this goes on, I'm not going to read it all, guys, but I'm sure it is extremely important to read. So I'll put the links down below. We'll go back to this page again from Beach Broadcast, which I'll also put down below. So how could a president of a country have this much power? Okay, because Trump has signed many executive orders, however, and uncovered many more that pertain to worldwide orders. Okay, so has President Trump been working on GESARA or a version of GESARA since he took office? How powerful is the Defense Production Act? It is so powerful that when Trump uses it, the companies must comply. And then there's someone called Chook Chook, who's an Australian patriot. Tells me it's GESARA on steroids. Now, this is Beach Broadcast that this person's been communicating with. Here are the companies he's compelled so far: General Motors, General Electric, Hillrom, Medtronic, ResMed, Royal Philips, Vier Medical, and 3M. Now, Lawfare blog gives a great interpretation of the Act, which I have up here. And that's the one I just read. That I was reading. Okay. It has two. No, that's the other one. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, so that's that one. We'll go back to here again. Okay. Lawfare blog is a great interpretation of the Act, yet some companies may want to get out of the USA for fear that the DPA may be used on them. My understanding is that the DPA can be used on US entities. United States of America is a corporation. Let's first look at the history of America and what has transitioned. America, the United States, is a corporation registered as a Delaware corporation. The search results show a few different results. Okay, so, and this will be all in the link down below. You can look through it yourself. But I did click on the two US constitutions. Now, Australia's the same. We have a original constitution and then a corporate constitution. Okay, let's go back here. Is President Trump dismantling the corporation and turning it into the constitutional government we were supposed to live by? Why did corrupt politicians incorporate the United States? Is it to give a new set of rules or its own version of the Constitution that is left out of the public eye? And then you've got an article on the two constitutions. What is happening worldwide and how does this affect us? Well, China news. Is China buying BlackRock? You may not be interested in war, but war is interested in you. And that is, I think BlackRock is not a good company. And there's an article in here from Real Clear Politics as well, which, let's click on it. Okay, it's got to do with that. You may not be interested in war, but war is interested in you. China doesn't want to rule you, it wants to assimilate you. And it was and remains utterly ruthless. Its goal, to own the control points in every sphere of economic life. Goldman Krantz dinner with a Communist Party of China cadre instructor whose daughter had just graduated from a top American university. He asked if I could help her get a job on Wall Street. So that's through infiltration is how they were going to do it. Okay. Does BlackRock fear the inevitable? Are they fearful of exposure or President Trump's use of the DPA? And then you've got the HKEX CEO resigning. So the CEO of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, Stocks and Futures Exchange, is resigning. That's huge. That'd be like the head of Wall Street resigning. Also, the IMF announces debt forgiveness to 25 of the poorest countries. The IMF debt forgiveness for 25 poorest countries. Contributors are the USA, UK, Netherlands, China, Japan. Why would the USA contribute towards helping other countries for debt relief? The USA has already implemented a $3 trillion stimulus to USA. More on that below. Okay, this is, I believe, the start of it, is the IMF debt forgiveness of the 25 poorest countries. Then the UN struggling to get world leaders on board with their COVID plan. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres remarked in this article, a clearly frustrated Guterres told reporter Thursday that instead of solid leadership to fight the pandemic, each country went ahead with different strategy, increasing the risk that the virus would not disappear but rather spread and then return, of course. It's obvious that there is lack of leadership, he said. It is obviously the international community is divided in a moment where it would be more important than ever to be united. He's trying to get the one world government and one new world order implemented. Not even Angela Merkel was on board with the UN plan because in President Trump's GOP meeting, President Trump references that he spoke with Merkel. I believe it was his way of telling the world that he is helping Germany. Okay, President Trump and President of Zimbabwe meet. Okay, when he was at Camp David over the weekend, the President of Zimbabwe was with him in a meeting. I know that was about the gold. The meeting happened after top executives of Zimbabwe Consolidated Diamond Company resigned. Diamond mining frackers ZCDC board members resign after, I can't say that, guys, Mnangagwa gave China diamond fields. What is Zimbabwe known for? Zim boasts 13 million tonnes of gold chest. That's amazing. And then there's an article. Has this got to do with that one or the next one? Okay, it's not going to let me out. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. This is about the gold in Zimbabwe. The second largest gold reserves per square kilometre in the whole world, with 13 million tonnes of proven reserves, of which only 580 tonnes have been exploited since 1980. Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, RBZ Governor Dr. John Manguja said yesterday. This comes as a central bank chief revealed that the country has the potential to earn over $4 billion per annum from gold exports if it fully exploits the reserves. Over the years, Zimbabwe managed to produce an average of 17 tonnes per year only, meaning less than 600 tonnes of the yellow metal have been exploited since independence. Gold production reached a 27 one-tonne peak in 1999, but later tumbled to a low of approximately 3.5 tonnes at the height of Zimbabwe's economic crisis. I believe that is because it was being stolen from them by corruption. Okay, so let's go back. New Zealand's in. Okay, New Zealand joins US-led COVID coalition. Now, this one that Trump runs has to do with this. It doesn't have to do with the virus. I don't believe. All that. Everything's coming out of this virus. Okay, you got the newsroom.co.New Zealand article. UK Queen Elizabeth is not returning to Buckingham. Okay, someone was asking me about that. In this article, Queen Elizabeth will stay at Windsor Castle indefinitely. Now, I'll put this down below. You can go through this and link all this. And Prince Charles tested positive for coronavirus but has been cured, which in code means they're going to be charged and they're talking, I think. From memory, I'm trying to remember the codes for testing positive, died of coronavirus. There was a code to it. That came through Q. Prince William relocated to Amner Hall in Norfolk. Prince Harry is now living in California. Boris Johnson is back at work. Who is running the UK? To best understand where I'm going with all this information, look at the standpoint of Corona translates to the Crown in Italian. Now, involved in all this, the UK Commonwealth and its territories, okay? Because the UK owns a lot, as you'll see. Okay, the word British is confusing in and of itself. It can refer to things that relate to the United Kingdom, Great Britain, or the former British Empire. Though it was used to be the world's most powerful colonial force, the reach of that empire has waned. However, the present-day UK does have a few remaining colonies worldwide which are referred to as British Overseas Territories. These territories remain subject to British rule, though some are self-governing. Anguilla, Bermuda, the British Antarctic Territory, British Indian Ocean Territory, British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, Falkland Islands, Gibraltar, Montserrat, Pitcairn Island, St Helena Dependencies, or St Helena, sorry, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands, Turks and Caicos, I'm not sure what that is, and I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. 3 islands within the British Isles retain special status known as Crown Dependencies. Though the UK is technically responsible for them, they are independently administered and self-governing. Instead of having a relationship with the UK, they have a relationship with the Crown, the British monarchy. Bailiwick of Jersey, Bailiwick of Guernsey and Isle of Man. Then there's the Commonwealth realm, which we are under. Countries that accept the Crown, aka Queen Elizabeth, as their constitutional monarch. As members of the Commonwealth of Nations, each Commonwealth realm governs itself, makes its own decisions and foreign policy decisions, but retains ties to the UK and to one another. This streamlines diplomatic relations and fosters ongoing community between nations that used to be part of Britain's formidable empire. That is Antigua and Barbuda, Australia, the Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Canada, Grenada, Jamaica, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, St Kitts and Nevis, St Lucia, St Vincent and the Grenadines, Solomon Islands and Tuvalu. A Commonwealth realm is the country which has the Queen as its monarch. There are 15 Commonwealth realms in addition to the UK. If Australia is a Commonwealth realm country, then why would the AUS file this document with the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States? Now, this is the Security Exchange Commission in the United States. And it's a download, which... One sec, guys, I think I downloaded that. Okay, it's this here. Freedom of Information documents. Now, I'll let you go through this. I won't read all of this. But guarantee of debt securities of Australian authorised deposit-taking institutions covered by the Australian Government Guarantee Scheme for large deposits and wholesale funding. Now, it does go through quite a lot. There is a lot to this, guys. This is what I mean. I might need help with this. Okay, brace yourself. This next article is a primary reason why President Trump wants to take down the IRS. This is a Freedom of Information Act request to the Queen. The Queen never responded. So how much does the UK receive from the US Federal Reserve? Did you know that the US is funding, the IRS gives money to the Queen? Peter Brewster made this Freedom of Information request to Her Majesty's Treasury. The request has been closed to new correspondence from the public body. Contact us if you think it ought to be reopened. Her Majesty's Treasury did not have the information requested. And that is very, very interesting. I don't think the Queen's in charge of us anymore. The good news, in GESARA Part 4, we already shared how the Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip broke their royal protocol to allow President Trump to walk in front of them and inspect the UK military. This is a huge sign that President Trump has quietly taken control over other countries. The control will lead to greatness. Does everything point back to President Trump? World leaders view President Trump's USA as the world leader. Well, it has been since the 1980s called leader of the free world, or maybe even before the 1980s. Whoever was leader of the US was the leader of the free world. This dive is so deep, and there are many other tentacles, such as the global reset, the gold standard, rainbow currencies, and more that I'll broadcast on separate broadcasts And I would advise anyone to go to listen to, it's Santa Surfing. So Santa is in Santa Claus, surfing is in surfing on the beach, and beach broadcast. Santa Surfing Beach Broadcast. She does really, really good work, guys, and I would advise you, for more information or to catch up to what she's talking about here, is to go through her other videos. She's got a whole series up to number 16, I think, at the moment. Okay. The dive is so deep and there are many other tentacles such as... yeah, I've read that. This is giving you an overview of how great this transition to greatness really is. For those in other countries, remember, even Q says this is worldwide. The Great Awakening is worldwide, and the Great Awakening is this. Part of it. It really is. Per MSM Fake News, person in the basement, LARP, who simply asks or asked questions on a forum, and they're talking about Q, image board that generates or generated continued massive thousands MSM attacks and worldwide movement, the Great Awakening, logical thinking. Back channels are important when the news itself is untrustworthy or controlled. Where we go one, we go all. President Trump, our military, and the Justice Department still have much more to do before this greatness happens. So while this is happening, let's continue to support our president in what he is doing, plus all of his public accomplishments, plus all his private swamp draining in less than 3.5 years. We truly have a president that is looking out in the best interests for the people of the world. Donald Trump tweeted, transition to greatness. And then there's all links down below, guys. So I really would advise everyone to start digging, because this is a lot of information, and I'm just want to make sure I've got everything. I've been trying to find the 2 Australian constitutions and have only found one so far, and I'm not sure which one it is. So if anyone has a copy of the original Constitution of Australia, I would really appreciate if you could email that to me at all. Yeah, if you've got a copy of it. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to be poring over this in the next few days, see what I can come up with and see what I can find in amongst all this. If you'd like to do the same, all the links will be down below. And if you want to read something and give me a summary of what it means, then I'd be grateful for that. And I'd like to thank a few people. I'd like to thank Cindy, these are all people who donated to the channel. Cindy, and she said, thank you for all your hard work. John, Michelle, new subscriber, thank you. Oh, that's lovely. Christopher, Senika, and Haley, who said, I felt compelled to send a little something. Keep up the truth seeking, where we go on, we go all. Aussie Patriots rock. A-Rock, thank you for all your amazing journalism and God bless you. Linda said, you are one of my favourite YouTubers. God bless you. And God bless you too, guys. I also have to thank Kathy, D&M, Judith, Miriam, and Tamika. I hope I said that right, guys. I hope I pronounced all of your names correctly. And my cat's just trying to crawl over my computer. And, okay, we're having a bit of a mishap here. It's all right. If you would like to contribute to my channel, you'll find my PayPal link down below. You'll also find all of the links that I've shown you today down below so that you can go and look at them for yourself. Okay, guys, I'm going to dig into this a bit more. I'll leave it at that for today. Have a good one. I'll talk to you very soon. Stay safe, stay calm, and I'll definitely talk to you soon. Okay, guys. Bye.